Hi everyone, we are live. I'm just giving people just a couple of minutes before we start. Just time to get in and get settled. Just got another minute to go. Right, I think we're ready. Okay. Hello. Right, so my name's Louise, for those that don't know me. This class is inspired by my Tuesday beginners class. So for all of you that are out there, then hi, this one's for you. Or anyone else that wants to join in on it, really. Right, so what we're going to be doing tonight is an Iyengar inspired class. So great for beginners. The Iyengar methods are spot on, precision and everything. So yeah, slow, static poses. We're moving away just from the flow for now, and we're just going to kind of really get to it with these and get really stuck into some kind of technique wise. So you're going to need your mat if you have one. Don't worry too much if you don't, just do it without. But ideally you need a mat and blocks. So if you've got a couple of blocks, if not, if you haven't got blocks, then if you've got something, maybe grab a chair. There's one bit where you can use the chair, kind of rest onto that instead. Think about getting some blocks, so you're going to need some blocks, or like a book or a firm cushion, something like that. And grab a belt. If you don't have one of the yoga belts, just grab kind of your dressing gown cord or something like that. Okay, right, so I'm going to get you first of all just to bring yourselves down just to sitting. So if you want to sit just a nice easy cross-legged, so just nice and easy, just crossing at the shins. Now the block is there just to help extend the spine, so we're nicely lifted and we can feel that the sides of the body are smoothing out and lifted, so we don't want to be kind of slouching down. So the idea is to create as much space as we can inside the body. When we create space, then this is kind of gives room for everything to work properly, all the internal organs to work, for the circulatory system to kind of keep moving, for the lymphatic system, especially, that kind of really gets a good kickstart. The more we move, because we need to move to get that to work. So, yeah, everything will start kind of working a little bit better then. So space from the inside and working that out. Okay, so now that we're on our mats and we're sat and we're lifted, just get the shoulders back and then just kind of take a little bit of a wriggle out, just so you feel a little bit more connected down to the mat and down to your blocks. Okay, now just close your eyes just for a moment. So allow your attention just to be on the breathing. Just tune in just to how you feel. And take this time just especially for yourself. Time just to dedicate solely for yourself. Think about what it is that's brought you to your mat. What is it that you're after? What is it that you're looking for? Maybe just headspace or working towards something. So make that your intention and allow that to carry you through your practice. So if things do feel a little bit tough at times, rather than on the first instinct just think, oh, just back off, I'll take a minute. Just think again just about what it was that brought you to your mat in the first place. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're after? Just maybe enable you to stay in it just for a few more breaths. Okay, so just bringing the palms together. And again, just think about that intention. If you're unsure, just to maybe have an accepting mind, just to allow whatever comes up, just to be there. And just to accept your body for how it is right now. How it deals with the postures right now. Accepting of the mind space right now. And then bring the thumbs up just to the space between the eyes. Just to reaffirm that intention. And then taking the hands up over the crown. So your intention is then out there. And then draw the hands back down again towards the heart center. And releasing the hands down to the knees. So just take one more big deep breath. As you exhale, have the mouth open, sigh the breath out. And then normal breathing. So feel as if the whole of the body is in tune with that inhalation and with that exhalation. So the whole of the body moves with the breath, moving in unison. And keep that feeling through your practice. So keeping it there as we move into our first posture, into Balasana. So we're just going to come over just onto our hands and knees. Now if there's any pain at all in the knees, then you can either take plenty of kind of props and things, or it could be a blanket, something like that, just behind your heels, so there's space there, or you can put kind of like a couple of socks, roll them up and place them there so you haven't got the knees compressed quite so tightly. Now I can just take the legs a little bit wider and then just bring in the hands, take them forward, take the head down and stretch the arms forward. So when you stretch the arms, we're just going to be on the fingertips. So our big toes are together, knees are slightly wider than the hips, arms are stretching forward. Keeping that tailbone, so the bone right at the base of the spine, just keeping it edging down. Keep the arms stretching forward, again, just fingertips. The wrists are lifted, the elbows are straight. The tops of the shoulders are rolling out. So you want to feel as if they're moving out away from the face. As they roll out, then this muscle here, serratus anterior muscle, starts to hug round. When that starts to work and it hugs round, it keeps the top of the shoulder rolled out. That will make it feel, when we make that action, the elbow creases will turn forward slightly. It's not a case of just turning the elbow creases and keeping this bit rolled in. The action needs to happen right from up in the shoulder. So from here, and then walk the fingers away just a little bit further. Again, keep that feeling of that serratus anterior muscle just hugging in towards the rib cage. Keep the tailbone looking back towards the heels. And then placing the hands flat. So we start to come up just onto the hands and knees. We're going to bring the knees in underneath the hips. Hands, the fingers are spread nice and wide and about shoulder width apart. Again, make sure there's that rolling out across the shoulders. So the difference is, if you didn't, when your hands are down, if you're like that across the shoulders, and with my hands down, you need to work that action. So that needs to roll to come out. So this bit rolls out, this bit hugs in. Otherwise, it's going to be like that. Okay, so from there, you're rolling it out and you're keeping the space. Okay, so from there, fingers nicely spread out. Just have that middle finger just pointing forward slightly. We press the hands down, tucking the toes under, take the bottom back a little bit further, and then coming up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So we're just going to start just to come up onto the toes and really think about whatever it is that's pressing down into the floor. So the toes, the fingers, and making that connection with the floor. Then we can start just to really feel that sucking up on the legs. So lowest point, whatever's on the floor, is your foundation in the pose. Really start to work it. So coming up nice and high in the legs, pulling up, raising those knees, the knees, lifting the kneecaps, and really pulling up right into the top of the quadricep muscles. Then we can start to ease the heels back a little bit. So feel it, oh, I had that pop in my ankle. So feel the stretch moving right down from the buttocks, right down to the heels. Okay, and then the chest is moving back. Make sure that that rib cage is housed evenly in the skin. Let the head just drop down, and just think about the face. Is your face nice and relaxed? So we can give the head a little nod, yes. We can shake the head, no. And we can do a horse impression. Let's get the face nice and relaxed. Now with all that going on, make sure that we are still working in the core as well. So really feel that squeezing back in the core. Now, if that makes your rib cage stick out when you do that, you need to keep the tailbone tucking a little bit, and you need to squeeze back even more. Think about that rib cage. So we're starting to push away from the fingers, so really taking it back, not quite so much pressure on the heel of the hand. Okay, and then come right up onto the toes. Bring the knees down to the floor. Relax the feet back. Sit with the head down. Just take the pressure just off the arms for a moment. If you need to, just bring in the hands back by the feet. So take a few deep breaths here. Few deep breaths. Okay, and then we're going to go again. So from this position, arms stretch forward. So then we start to tuck the toes. Again, think about that connection. Start to pull up and back. Now, if you're tighter in your back and the back is rounding, and you come in like this, bend your knees a little bit, get the chest back. But go through all those points again. So fingers, the feet, pull up on the legs, pull up, pull up, pull up, pulling the kneecaps up, quadricep muscles right up to that hip joint, or up into the groin. Feel the stretch down from underneath your buttocks, right down to the heels. Okay, so we're there with it, holding there again, just making sure that the neck is nicely released. So this setup in Adho Mukha Svanasana is going to be your setup for your headstand prep. So we need to make sure we can get this right. If you allow the weight to move forward, then it's going to take all that pressure on the neck. So we've got to get used to pushing it back. Okay, from here, come right up onto the toes. Start to walk the feet forward. So we're just going to come just to the front edge of your mat. Now, if you have got your 2 blocks, just place them in front and take your feet out as wide as your mat. So feet are going just parallel, but on the inner edges of the mat. Your blocks are going to come up high, and you're going to press down and lengthen forward. So this is going to be kind of a few variations on Uttanasana. So Uttanasana being your forward fold. So we're just going to start to pull up a little bit more on the legs. Make sure the weight is even on the feet. So rock forwards and back maybe a couple of times. Just check out where it is. If you feel you're able to come forward a little bit more, just be careful if you have a little bit of a iffy back issues, then you maybe need to just bend your knees. Don't do anything which is going to cause you any pain. So if you feel you're able, you can keep the legs straight. We can maybe move that down a level. If you feel you're able to, then you can place the hands down. Now, if you feel you're able to, if your back feels strong enough, you grab hold just above the elbow crease on each side. And you're going to feel as if you're pulling down towards the floor. And when you pull down, so your head, if I come up so you can see, when you're lifted up, your arms are pulling up further than the head. Okay, again, this is important for your headstand prep. So you need to be able to kind of get that movement with the arms. So we're pulling down, pulling down, pulling down, and then release from the grip. Place your hands back down onto the floor. Take the legs back. So we're back into Adho Uttanasana again. So we're just stretching back. So make it really nice and strong in this pose. Really kind of give it what you've got. So just pull up on those leg muscles, really stretch back, use the arms.
When you're pushing back, feel that the armpit skin is even getting the stretch out. And feel it front, back and side to the body. So working the heels back down towards the floor, but don't feel as if that's absolutely necessary. If you're here with it, then that's fine, as long as you're feeling that stretch down the back of the legs. Okay, so from here, we're just going to take a little lift on that right leg and bring that right leg forward. Okay, back foot, we're going to step it in a little bit and place the foot down, or the heel down. Make sure the toes are heading in the direction, the top left-hand corner of your mat. And that with your right foot, it's facing just forward. Grab your 2 blocks again, press down and lift up. So we're doing Parsvottanasana legs. Okay, so we keep the legs as straight as we can. We make sure that the pelvis is as level as we can. So we're pushing down in the back foot to edge that hip forward. So my right foot is pushing down, but it's also pulling back just to, otherwise that hip will move forward. So it's working just to pull back. Okay, so we're there with it. We're lengthening forward, lengthening forward, lengthening forward. I can even take the blocks a little bit further forward. So a little bit further, a little bit forward, and stretching away out of it. So hold here, take a breath. Now with Iyengar poses, they're held for a little while when you're in the pose. Really builds a tremendous amount of strength and stability. So it's excellent practice just for kind of really getting your foundations in the pose, or going back to, or just kind of always just doing an Iyengar practice. Great for the whole of the body. Okay, we can just bring those blocks in a little bit. We can lay them down. Bend your back leg, hands go back down. Take that back leg back a little bit further. Front leg back to join it. So you back up again into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So we're drawing back and drawing back and drawing back. Remember, now you see how those shoulders will want to kind of crawl in, so they need to be rolling out as much as you can. Keep that space across from shoulder to shoulder. Nice and strong in the legs. So then we're going to work it onto the left side. So we can lift the leg a little bit, bring the leg forward, place it up between the hands. Remember, if you're not getting all the way there, just step it in, all right? So from there, we're just moving in on the back foot. Toes are heading off as if they're going to the top corner on that right-hand side. I have my blocks ready, so I can bring myself up to a higher point. When you're up to a higher point, then you can kind of just really reevaluate everything that you've been doing kind of with the legs. So make sure on the back foot, heel is pressing down. It'll bump that hip forward. Front foot, toes are nicely spread out. My foot is grounded, but I'm pulling back to keep that hip level. So otherwise, that hip will want to kind of crawl forward and make the hips unlevel. So once we're there and we're nice and level with the hips, then we can start taking the blocks forward and forward and forward. It's a massive stretch out through the sides of the body. It's a great one for kind of really lengthening out through the sides of the body, front, back and sides. Okay, we'll feel a long stretch on that back leg. So keeping your attention on your intention, which you set at the beginning. Keep the legs strong. Remember why you came. Okay, and then we can bring it back in. We can just lay the blocks back down. We can start to bend the legs a little bit. So we're going to just step that leg back a little bit more. Take that front leg back. So again, we're in Ardha Mukha Svanasana. It's a nice big stretch out of it. Again, remember, so across from shoulder to shoulder, nice and spread out. Let the head just freely hang. Now notice when, even if you're moving the head, if you're checking that, are you actually moving the head forwards or back or to the side? Or are you just able to get the head just to bobble around? Okay, and then right up onto the toes and come down. And then again, just resting out in Balasana. So you can bring the hands back. Fully commit to that breath, so fully rest down. Okay, so after your 2 breaths, bring yourself up. Now, just so because of the hands, if you're not used to that, or even if you are used to it, it's a long time up. So we're just going to turn the hands the other way around. So you're just going to place them, which way is the best way to go? So that way. So rather than having the hands that way, turn them and taking them back. Okay, so once they're there, now I don't expect you to sit all the way back towards your heels unless you're quite flexible in your arms, but we'll just keep edging it. So you just want to feel a comfortable stretch going through the arms. So you'll feel that right along the inside of the forearms. You may feel it into the palms as well. And then you can kind of pull back a little bit so we feel a bit of a stretch with the fingers. So we get the palm of the hand then. And also into the elbow creases a little bit. And then bring it back and placing them the other way around. Okay, I'm just going to move those out of the way for a moment. So we've done Ardha Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. So we're going to do Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, your upward facing dog. So we're going to lay down on our front, create as much space as we can. So pubic bone is pressing down, lift one leg at a time, stretch it back. Placing the hands down, press down, lengthen yourself forward. Now we're going to place the hands down so they're kind of level with your bust or with the chest. Okay, so and then again stretch the legs back. Now we can keep those elbows in, keep nice and wide across the shoulders. Take a big deep breath in, and as we breathe out, we're coming up just to a comfortable height. Keep those elbows back. Okay, so this is our first stage. This is just Bhujangasana. Now when we come up into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, we bring the knees up away from the floor. We're pressing down with the tops of the feet. Oh, just got a little bit of cramp, I think. Okay, so we can bring the hands a little bit lower. So we're going to do our first one. We'll do the first one now and then see how you feel. So our hands are down. So nice and wide across the shoulders, elbows in, draw back across your belly. Inhale, exhale as we start to lift, using the muscles in the back of the body as you lift. So keep those shoulders nicely down, shoulder blades moving down towards your waist. Okay, belly squeezing in. And then slowly release back down. So if you feel that that was enough for you, then you can just stay with that one, do that one again, and judge it on how high you want to come up. Again, there should be no pain anywhere. And it's more of a bend in the top part of the back. Okay, if we're going a little bit deeper into it, hands can come just that little bit lower. So we take a big deep breath in. Now, as we're breathing out and we start to come up, we'll come up, but the knees will be up off the floor. And we're stretching forward and looking up. And then slowly come back down, all the way down. Just give the feet a bit of a stretch out in the opposite direction. Okay, so we know now where we're going with that one. So that one's Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. We're now going to come up and we're going to, if we're going to come up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana, we can either roll over the toes when we do it, or you can come up to the knees. So hands are down. Take a big deep breath. And then as we exhale, we start to lift up. We bring the knees up away from the floor. We're looking up. And then we're going to tip the head down, roll back over the toes, and we're lifting up. I'm going to bring my feet in just a little way. So we either rolled over the toes or you came to your knees and then you came back up again. Okay, so we're up in Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So we should feel a little bit more comfortable in this now since we've been here a few times. Again, we're going to just start to walk the feet coming forward towards the hands. Grab hold of your 2 blocks again, press them down and lengthen forward. So again, we're in Uttanasana, it's Ardha Uttanasana. So Uttanasana is that full forward fold, we're just halfway down. So if you feel that you're able, if you can come down that little bit lower, keeping the length in the body. If you can come a little bit lower, and remember the feet are in a little bit closer this time. Again, we grab hold just above the elbows. This time we're just going to change that crossover. So, and then again, start to pull all the way down. Legs nice and strong, drawing up. And then we can release the hands, place the hands back onto the blocks. We can start to press down, lengthen forward. Then hands are going to come onto the waist. Now you can either bend your knees, especially if you're a very new beginner, or if the back is a little bit sore. So we press down and coming up, all the way up, and just roll the shoulders back. Okay, so grab hold of your blocks. You're going to just need those handy. So I'm going to place one there and place one there. Okay, I'm going to take the legs out a leg length apart. So we're coming into Trikonasana to begin with. So I'm going to start to take the arms out to the sides. And then turning in with your left foot and turning out with your right leg. I'm mirror imaging you, so you'll be facing the same way as me. Keep the height in the body. Then we start just to glide over to that right hand side. So we're keeping this side stretching back the whole time. I'm going to bring my hand down and hold onto the block, pressing it down and the top, and my arm is reaching up. Now if I feel that is a little bit too high, I can bring that down. So we can use the block to press away from. So we're using that, it's not a cop out, using the blocks, you're pressing away from it. We're working a resistance point. So we're going to push into that left foot, pull up away from the right, pull up away from this block, and we're looking up towards that top hand. So we should feel nice, even stretch both sides of the rib cage. Okay, from there, push into your left foot, come all the way up. Turn the feet back in. Okay, we're just going to refresh the arms in the middle, going over to the other side. So legs nicely stretched out, arms stretching out to the side. Keep this hand as if it's trying to push that way. We inhale, we exhale as we lengthen over. We're going as far over as we can. Hand again coming down onto the block, whichever height you prefer it to be at. But remember, you don't want to feel as if you're resting your weights onto it. So reaching up into that top hand. Keep all that pushing back right into the outer edge of that right foot. And pulling up away from the left leg. Sides of the body are nice and strong. The belly is drawing in. And then we're coming back up. So press into the right. Come all the way back up. Turn the feet in. Okay, and we're going to jump the legs back together. Okay, roll the shoulders back. The cracking that you hear will be me. It's my ankles and my knees. Right, so shoulders are rolled back. Now normally we jump back out into a pose, but we're just going to have to watch with the blocks there. So we'll walk the legs out. Okay, so we're going to take the legs out again. Nice wide stride. So a little bit wider this time. So we're going to go from Virabhadrasana 2, and we're going to be taking that into Parsvakonasana. Okay, so Virabhadrasana 2 first. Press down, lifting up, draw in and zip up along the front of the body. Pushing the legs out to the side, but feel as if on the inner thighs are pulling in and up. Arms out, right, turn in with your left, turn out with your right. Keeping the height in the body, and then exhale as you bend the knee. So Virabhadrasana 2. Back leg nice and strong, really push it out, open up in the hip. Feel as if the abdominal muscles are pulling round towards that left-hand side, and that right knee is edging out to the side. Turn, look over that middle finger, and then just loosen it off slightly in the shoulders. You don't want to have them hanging up round near your ears. Okay, just another breath there. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Should be no pressure going on that knee when you're going into it or when you're coming out of it. Turning in, turning out. Okay, keeping that lift, and then exhale as we bend the knee. So we're making sure on this right side that this hip is pulling back, the abdominal muscles are pulling round to that right hand side. We're opening up quite deeply right through that left leg. Arms are out, and we turn and we look. Keep the breathing nice and smooth. Keep that zipping up through the front of the body. Good, and then coming all the way back up again. Turn the feet back in. Okay, we're going to keep the legs there. Now, we've got 2 blocks. So I'm going to just place them both on that side. It keeps a bit steadier.
So in Parsvakonasana, we go back through Virabhadrasana 2, and it's with an extension through the side of the body and with the arm. So arms out to the sides. So we're going to turn in with the left foot, turning out with the right leg. So remember, get that set up ready just as you did with Virabhadrasana 2. Then from here, we extend and we extend and we extend. We bring the hand down onto the blocks. Now you can either push it down onto a higher height, you can take it a little bit lower, and we get that knee pushing back against the arm. Take the hand right up towards the ceiling. Check your line. So you want one long line of energy moving up the side, then palm facing towards the door. We're going to take that arm over the head. So one long line of energy moving right from the back foot right through to the fingertips. So we're pushing that bent leg back against the arm. We're looking up on the inside of the arm. We're feeling a nice even stretch through the torso. Okay, and then when we come up, press into your left foot, bringing the arms back. So back to Virabhadrasana 2, then all the way up. Turn the foot back in. Okay, and just rest the hands down for a moment. So hopefully you're feeling that. Tough ones to do and to talk at the same time, because they do take it out of you if you're doing them right. So it's not so much of a kind of a strain so much on the body. Sometimes if you're in the right alignment, often you find that the body does feel at ease. It's just the mind. So you just need to kind of watch your breathing. The body will be fine, but the mind will kind of start playing tricks with you. So just keep your breathing nice and smooth. So taking the arms out to the side. So turning in with the right foot, turning out with the left leg. So nice stretch out with those arms. Remember, create as much space as you can in the body. And then slowly start to bend the knee. Look for that right angle between the thigh and the calf muscle. Okay, from there, then we start to stretch over as far over as we can. Bringing the hand down onto the block and pushing my knee back against the arm. Now this arm is just going to be up towards the ceiling. So we're stretching right up. Then we can turn the palm and stretch the arm over. So you're feeling a long line of energy right from the back foot, going right through to the fingertips. So we're turning, we're looking up, we're trying to turn as much of the chest, much of the belly, looking up towards the ceiling. So nice even stretch. Woo. Hopefully you're all feeling that. Good, and then we bring it back. So we come back up, Virabhadrasana 2, and then all the way back up. Turning back in, okay, and we jump the legs back together. You can just step in a little bit, and then jump and land light. Good. No cracking, well, not quite so much cracking that time. Okay, so we take the shoulders back, and with our feet nice and straight, and with our legs together, roll back, so we're in Tadasana. So Tadasana being mountain pose. Okay, so we're going to work into Pravita Trikonasana. So on this one, this is where you can grab your chair. If you don't have your chair, you could have used your chair, sorry, on those other bits as well if you didn't have blocks there. So you can grab a chair if you don't have the blocks, or if you do, grab as many blocks as you can. I'm just going to move my mat. Right, I'll put it against the door. Okay, so you can still see me there. Right, so I'm placing my blocks there. If you haven't got the blocks, use a chair. So I'm going to place my left foot back towards the door. It's a bit of a rattly door, so I apologise now if it makes a noise. And my right foot is forward. Let me just move those so you can see. Okay, so you can see my foot is there. So it's a similar sort of setup into Parsvakonasana when we had the legs forward after we did our first Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Now, these blocks are just going to stay on the inside of the foot to begin with. So I'm just going to show you why. So from here, we can then start to stretch forward like we did for Parsvakonasana. So this is where we came forward and we had the hands onto our blocks.
So I'm just going to keep my hands on my hips, stretch forward, stretch forward, stretch forward. Place my hand down onto the block on the inside of the foot and take my right hand back behind me. I'm going to keep my legs as level as I can, hips level, and I'm going to slowly start to turn. So I'll be turning away from you, and then when I get my my shoulder up towards the ceiling, then I can bring my arm up. Okay? And I make sure I kind of lift up away from this arm, this shoulder. So we can work it to there. Now, depending on your range of flexibility, you may find that you don't, so on the first one, we're keeping it on the inside. You may find you need less blocks, so you can do that and turn, that's fine. So work with whatever suits you. So we're just going to do this as the first one, and then we're going to take it to the outside of the foot, okay? So from stretching the foot back, placing the hands onto the hips, really push and plug that back foot in. Front leg is pulling up to keep the hips level. So from there, lengthen forward, lengthen forward, lengthen forward, lengthen forward. So coming into that halfway mark, place your hand down onto the floor. So it's opposite arm to leg. We have right leg forward, left hand onto the blocks. Okay, right arm is going back behind. From there, keep the hips level and then start to slowly start to twist. So when we twist, we're twisting through the waist. So come right through that waist. And then we can start to take the arm up. Okay, bringing the hand back down. So hands come back onto your waist. Inhale and come back up. Okay, so we're just going to step that in. So we'll do the other side first. So our right foot forward and left leg is back. If you don't have a wall or the door, don't worry too much. You can kind of push your foot back into the sofa or the edge of the table or anything that's fairly solid. It just gives you a reference point to work from. So you can, and like a resistance point, so you can really kind of plug it in and pull up away from it. Okay, but it's not essential, and then you will find that one as you progress in your practice that you don't have the wall there at all. Okay, so hands are onto the hips again, legs are nice and strong. So aim to come forward, 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 forward. So we're getting to halfway. Keep pulling up on the legs, keep pushing that back foot in. So now I'm bringing my right hand forward because my left leg is forward. I'm going to take my left arm back behind me. As I start to turn and push, I can already feel that back leg wanting to lift. So I've got to really plug it back. Start to make a movement through my waist, then through my shoulder. I'm still working on trying to pull this hip back, and then I can start to raise the arm. So from here, we're just taking a breath. And then bring it back down, but back down to the floor, keep the back foot pushing in, and then slowly start to come back up. Okay, so from there we can step the legs back in. So just come back to Tadasana. Feet are together, so we lift up, roll the shoulders back. Just take a moment, couple of breaths. So with an Iyengar practice, it really works on precision and on form. So even when you come to doing your flow practices, then you know exactly where you need to be. Okay, so we're going to move it over. We'll start to intensify this a little bit. So the blocks are going to go to the right hand side, and it is going to be my right leg, which is forward. Okay, so back foot pushing in, hips are level. Right, this time I'm going to keep my right hand right into that crease at the top of my leg, and I'm going to pull that back. I'm going to keep pulling it back. Left arm is going to lift up in the air. So I'm going to stretch forward with that as far forward as I can. As far forward, as far forward, as far forward. And then let that hand come down so it's crossing over the leg. If that feels too much, just go back to the other. If it's too high on the blocks, then take one out. But again, don't compromise your form for ego. So just keep the hand pressing in, keep working on the twist, let that right hand again slide behind your back. So we start to turn, and we turn, and we turn, and then again we can raise the arm. This lower hand push away from the blocks, so we lift up away from that shoulder blade. It'll give you a little bit more room to turn. And then bringing that hand back down, so place it back onto the blocks, place then both hands into the crease at the top of the legs, push into the back foot as you come up. And then step it in. Woo! Twists are very, very warming, so you may feel like you've just got really warm. So that's good. They're all detoxifying. They really start to work the body well. And it takes the twists are massively beneficial. So muscular tension, they really do get to kind of work right along, putting the spine through all ranges of motion. So going when we've done flexion and extension, rotation, and it really starts to bring it out. Okay, so let's do the other side. So blocks are moving across. I'm taking my right foot back and I'm taking my left leg forward. Oops. Okay. Right, so from here, so pushing in on with that back foot, really wedge it into the wall or the door, whatever you've managed to get it into. So take with your left hand, you right into that crease, the top of your top of the leg on kind of like your knicker line. Pull that back. Take the right arm up in the air. So lifting that arm up and then exhale as we come forward. Keep going forward, keep going forward, keep going forward, then let the hand come down onto the block. So when the hand comes down, it's going to start to push away. So you see how it clears that little bit of space then just in the shoulder blade. We can slide that left hand back, and when the left hand goes back, on the left arm going back, we can start then to work into the twist. We turn, we turn, we turn, we turn. And when the shoulder is up, we can bring the hand up. And we're there with it. We're boiling, we're sweating. It's starting to work, getting right into these twists. Good, and then we bring that hand back down. So again, hands right into the crease and the legs. Inhale, lifting back up again. And then we step the legs in. Okay, so when the legs are stepped in, just roll your shoulders back. Stand nice and tall, so we're back again into Tadasana. Just take a few breaths there. So we should be starting to feel a little bit more open in the body. Okay, so we're just going to work a little bit more into some core work. Although it kind of really starts to bring it in with all the standing poses, we need to kind of, there's a few isolated core work ones which are massively beneficial. So, and just nice poses in their own right. So we're going to bring ourselves just to lying down on the floor. I'm just going to quickly show you just where we're going with it. If you do have a blanket or something like that, then you can just lay that down. So ideally, it's just to really fill out, if you have a tendency to overarch in your lower back, if you have something, even if it kind of creases up a little bit, then you can push your lower back down into it to make sure that you are keeping it down to the floor. So let me show you first where we're going with this. So, Urdhva Pasarita Padasana. So, now remember this as kind of 90, 60, 30. Okay. So, we stretch out first of all. So, we can just take a big stretch. Now, we're going to keep the arms where they are unless you're really struggling with the back. Then you can place your hands underneath your bum with the palms facing down. Okay. So, we're going to start just to draw the legs in. So we bring them in and then we draw them back on the belly and we're squeezing the legs in towards the chest. We're going to take those legs up towards the ceiling and then we bring them back in and we stretch them back out at 60 degrees. We bring them back in. We stretch them out at 30 degrees. We bring them back in. We go back to 60, back in, up to 90, back in. Okay? So that's just so you know where you're going with it. So if you want to get yourself just lying down, legs stretched out, arms are either going to go back over the head and stretching back. If you're anywhere near the sofa, you can place your hands underneath the sofa and it will really help to kind of tune that into your belly, okay? Or if you have any weights or anything, hang on to those. If you're struggling with your back, as I said, place your hands underneath your bum. Right, so from here, from a big stretch, just draw the legs in. Make sure that you've got the small of the back pressing down towards the floor. Then from here, bring the legs up. Keep, again, small of the back pressing down towards the floor. So we're going to take the legs up, straight up. Now work as if the legs are one unit. So squeeze them together. Feel as if the hips are compact. Squeezing in, squeezing in. Okay, so from here, drawing the belly back, we're going to bend the legs in. Take them out 60 degrees. And then squeezing in. Taking them out 30 degrees. Squeezing in. Back up to 60 degrees. Squeezing in. Up to 90. Squeezing in. Either take a rest or we're going round again. 60 degrees. And in. And 30 degrees. And in. And 60 degrees. And in. And 90 degrees. Okay, we're going to start to scissor the legs. So we're going to take one leg, bring it down to about the 30-degree mark. Okay, we're going to swap the legs over, scissoring the legs at 60. And again. And again. So working it slowly, but keep the belly drawing back. And again. And again. And again. And one more. Bring that lower leg up. Bend the legs in. And placing the feet down. Okay, and let the arms come down by your sides. Woo! Okay. Right, so just take the arms up towards the ceiling. Interlock your fingers. Turn away with the hands, stretching the arms over. And turn the hands back over again. Grab hold just above the elbows. Stretch out with the legs and take the arms back over the head. So notice if your arms are in front of your face or if you can manage to get them back. Now keep working to draw the shoulder blades down. Okay, and then separate the hands, bringing the arms back down by your sides. Place the hands underneath your bottom, press down with the elbows and bring yourselves up. Okay, so now that we've worked a little bit more into the core muscles, ideally that would be a great time then to go into your headstand once you've done those, because you really need to tune into firstly the shoulders and your setup, but also as well in the core. Otherwise you see people kind of wavering around just hoping and praying that they're still in it. So we're going to do the preparation bit for getting up into it, but we're not going up into the full headstand. If you want that, it'll be in the video that follows this one. Okay, so to get our distance that we need, you're going to grab hold of your elbow, just above your elbows. Now, when I get people to do this, they're kind of like this. It is a grab hold. So when you grab hold there, that is the space across from shoulder to shoulder. And don't let go. Don't let go of that. So we're just going to then place yourself down so you're just back kneeling. Place your arms forward so you're down onto the floor with your elbows. Keep the elbows where they are, and then bring your hands forward. Interlock the fingers and get right back to the webbing on your fingers. Now, both the little fingers sit side by side and they rest down onto the floor. One thumb just on top of the other thumb. The only fingers that really, really need to press together would be your index fingers pressing. They would really press. Now, if you just, like now, if you just press in with just the index finger, you'll feel that space happen across from shoulder to shoulder. So that is the action that you need to keep this space here. So then you're going to be with the hands down onto the floor and pressing in, and then come right up. So bring your knees in a little bit closer to the elbows. Now, if you place your head down, and it is the crown of the head, so crown of your head onto the floor. Lots of people tend to make the mistake more near the forehead or just past the forehead. It is literally right on the crown of your head. Okay, so once that is down onto the floor, and remember, you're going to keep your the index finger pushing together, but you're going to be nice and wide in the wrists. Push those elbows down, the forearms down, your wrists down, and the little fingers down. And then from here, your toes tucked under, and you lift up. Now, on your preparation one, we're working, if you can see now, I can lift my head up off the floor. So all that, I know that my setup of my shoulders is okay, right? And I can start to walk my feet in. Now, that's as far as we're going with it in this session. So what you would need to do is make sure that you can actually lift your head just a little bit off the floor. If you can lift your head up off the floor, slide a piece of paper under there and slide it back, then you know you have the strength and you're able to kind of pull down with your arms. Okay, so if not, you've got too much weight going over to your head and too much weight going onto your neck. So you're going to end up compromising your neck. Again, that is ego over form. So make sure that your shoulders, you can pull them back, you can lift your head. And when you bring your feet in, there's no jumping whatsoever to get up into this. I know there's a kind of, you want to get up there, but no jumping. Okay, so practice that. You can always kind of practice it with your legs a little bit further back. So if you feel that that's more accommodating, but at some point they are going to have to come in and the head is going to have to be down. So just if you play around and practice just on that and see kind of where you go with it. Okay, right then. So that's enough on that preparation stage on that one. Now you're going to take your blanket, and if you just make it so you've got a point bit on one side. So we're just going to use that point. It's going to be there. Now I'm going to sit just on that front edge of that point. So it's just sticking through. Okay, legs are nice and wide, and I have my belt. So the pose is Upavista Konasana. So it would be seated, and we would come into a forward fold. Now the belt is there just as an extension, just to be able to grab hold. So we have that handy. Hands are just going to press down behind. So they're pressing down, we're rolling the shoulders back, and we're nice and open in the chest. So really think of kind of lifting up and back and over. So we're nice and long through the front of the body. Legs are stretching out, the front of the legs are looking up towards the ceiling. So again, you don't have to make it too extreme, they don't have to go too crazy, as long as you're feeling a decent stretch. And then bring the hands forward. Again, keep that lift. Now, as we start to come forward, the pelvis will tilt forward. So as it tilts, the legs are staying where they are. Hence, this is why we're up on a little bit of extra padding to help keep us lifted and to help lengthen out through the pelvis. But the pelvis will tip forward as we come forward. Now we just place the hands down, we press down, and we keep that lift. If you feel that you're able to come forward, then you would come forward. So just be careful of these muscles here, and your adductor muscles, and on the hamstrings. It can be a really, really long stretch, a bit of a tough stretch for them. So just, again, keep it comfortable.
Not all this work has got to be done by the weekend. So it can take years and years and years to go over. And it should take years and years and years. Okay, so from there, and then we just bring it back up. Now I'm going to grab hold of your belt, and you're going to take the belt round onto your right foot. So again, I'm going to mirror image you, so this is my right. So I'm going to place the belt onto that. Now when I hang onto the belt, again, I sit tall. I turn myself so the whole of my front of my body is facing towards the toes. I pull up, lift up, and then come over that leg. I can start to walk the hands towards the feet. And if I am right at the toes, I can always drop the belt, take my hand and place it to the outside of that right foot. I can place the hand down, press down, and I can start to turn a little bit more across my belly and maybe really over exaggerate. So feel as if I'm looking back over that shoulder. But in fact, it's just to keep the body so it's level and facing over that right leg. And then from there, I'm going to grab back hold again of the belt. And I'm going to pull the belt as I come back up. So it straightens my back out. And then I can take the belt over to the other side, take a little press down, lift up. And then over to the other side. So holding onto the belt, and again, I'm working to turn everything to face towards the toes on that left-hand side. I lift up, I start to come along, then walking my hands towards the foot. If I am there with it, without kind of hindering the chest coming forward, we don't want to be like this. We need to be able to bring the chest through. So that hand can go across, my hand can go down onto the floor and press down to enable me to turn and to move myself a little bit more, just so I feel as if I'm more central over that leg, and then maybe come down a tiny bit. So we'll take a breath or two there. Okay, and then I'm back onto the belt. I take hold and lift all the way back up. And then I can move the belt over to one side. Again, press the hands down behind. And then placing the hands forward and slowly coming forward. If you are able to take your hands to the side and grab hold of your big toe, you can pull onto that big toe, again to enable the chest to move forward. Keep the strength in those legs. The feet want to feel as if they're pushing away. So even if you're holding onto the big toe, you want to feel as if you don't want to feel as if you're pulling as such to get there. You want to feel as if the feet are pushing away. So they're pulling the arms as opposed to the arms pulling on the feet. Okay, and then we come all the way back up again. So you can just help the legs to come back in, pressing down. So we're going to finish off with Paschimottanasana. So you're seated forward fold. So again, grab hold of your belt. Just place that round your feet. Grab a little bit of the flesh on your bum and pull it back. So you feel as if you're right onto those sitting bones. We're still on that little bit of the point of the blanket. So that will help you as well to keep the pelvis level. Right, so we're going to pull. And then as we come forward, the pelvis will just start to tilt forward. Again, feel as if it is the feet which are starting to kind of bring you forward. You want to feel an even stretch going along the back of the body. Then we can start to walk the hands along the belt. We can hold onto the feet. We can maybe grab hold of the big toe, keeping those elbows in. Now, even if you're a good way down, lift up a little bit, look forward, and then just allow yourself to fold over there a little bit more. If you are able, you can get the hands just round onto the feet. If you're a little bit further down, you may be able to cross the arms like this, so you're grabbing hold of one wrist on the other side of the feet. It's a little bit much for me, is that one. So hands are just going behind. Again, it's the feet pushing away that are drawing you forward.
And then the head can just rest down. So we take a few breaths. Okay, and then grab hold of your belt. Sit low, lift the head, lift the chest. Pull the belt through the hands to bring it all the way back up. It's such a good feeling that you realise you've gone quite a way down when you're pulling yourself all the way back up again. So it's well worth it just for that. So if you take your belt now, just leave that at just one side. Now we're just going to finish off just with, I know that was the last pose, seated pose, sorry. So we're just going to do Savasana, a shoulder stand. So if you take a little bit of padding, just to kind of lift you up a little bit higher, so you can take a blanket and then take your mat and roll that over the top. So your shoulders are slightly higher up and it takes the pressure off your neck. So when you lay down, you make sure that your head is on the floor. So you make sure that everything is tucked in. They're not going to fall out in front of your face. So we've got our arms down by your sides. We've worked those core muscles, so they'll still be nicely tuned in for lifting up. So we're just going to draw in and then lift the legs up towards the ceiling. We catch hold of the back and we keep the fingers pointing up towards the waist. We're stretching out with the legs. We make sure we feel as if the hips are squeezing in. We're stretching away and we're holding up. So you're just going to work here now, just maybe 5 breaths. Keep checking that we're not slipping. Keep checking by pushing the hands into the rib cage at the back, just to keep as level as we can. Keep the hips edging forward. Keep the legs nice and strong. Keep a focus on the breath. Okay, then to come back down, just bending the legs. Make sure that you keep feeling as if there's an upward feeling of energy. And releasing the hands down and slowly just start to roll and coming back out of it. So once we're there, we can just then turn to the palms face up. Take a few breaths. And then before you get too comfortable, if we just lift up and roll on your mat. If you lay yourself down, you can have your blocks underneath your legs. So either with a cushion or with the blocks there, so they can go underneath. Take the pressure off on your back. Or you can by all means have the legs straight if you want them straight. That'll just take the pressure off. You can either have them like that or you can have them a little bit flatter. Again, it just takes that edge off. If you don't want anything there at all, then just take up as much space as you can on your mat. So have that little bit of space underneath the armpits. Now you can either leave the hands just out to the side or just turn so the palms are facing in and just resting in onto the belly. But again, there's that space underneath the arms. Feet are just falling out to the side. Keep the chin right in towards the chest. So just allow everything just to release, just to let go. So as you're focusing on the breath, each time you exhale, just feel that sinking down. So everything on the back of the body just melted down towards the floor. And then again, everything inside the body, just as you exhale, is melting down towards the floor.
And then the skin on the front of the body. And as you exhale, it's allowing that skin just to feel as if it's moving down towards the back of the body. Allow the facial muscles to soften. And just now, just start to bring your attention just onto the belly. And just noticing, just as you inhale, you'll feel the belly just gently starting to expand. As you exhale, just noticing the belly just sinking back towards the spine. So again, just be aware of the belly. Inhaling the belly, just gently starting to expand. Exhaling, the belly just sinking back towards the spine. Okay. So just slowly now, just start to move the body. Just being aware how the body feels. Space inside the body. Space inside the mind. Notice the non-attaching to anything right now. Just being in the moment. And start now just to take a good stretch. Stretching out, really feel as if every limb starts to stretch. You'll feel kind of a rigidity coming into the body as you stretch. We start to move out. Be quite vocal with it, and it'll often be accompanied by a yawn or a sigh. So take that, go for it, make a noise. And then you can bring yourselves up to sitting and just join me with the hands back in Anjali Mudra. Okay, so just taking a moment just to being aware of your intention, which you set at the beginning. How that carried you through your practice. And then taking the hands up over the crown. Slowly start to draw the hands down past the Ajna chakra, the intuitive center, the Vishuddha. We speak our truth and listen well. The Anahata, the center for love and compassion. Manipura, for our will and our drive. The Svadhisthana, for new beginnings and accepting change. And the Muladhara, for strength and our stability. Just bringing the hands back to the Anahata chakra. Again, the center for love and compassion. Just bring to mind someone you feel could do with a little bit of help right now. And dedicate the energy that you created in your practice to them. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. If you liked what I did, if you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already on the side there, and you can hit the bell as well. It'll notify you of any more videos that are going to be put on YouTube. And share it if you feel that somebody would benefit from the practice. So just share away. Okay. So thank you for joining me, and stay safe and enjoy your practice.